The Los Angeles, California Angels of America have been a never-ending cycle of teasing and disappointment ever since 2015. They had Mike Trout, the best player in baseball, alongside Albert Pujols, a future Hall of Famer, and just couldn't reach the postseason. Now, granted, Pujols was nowhere near the same dude he was while in St. Louis with the Cardinals, and let's be real here, he probably was like 15 years older than he said he was, but it was still a disappointment to be missing out on October. And then the Angels brought in a new player with high expectations from Japan, Shohei Ohtani. Eventually added Anthony Rendon to the mix a couple of years after that on a big contract. Ohtani has since gone on to have some of the most impressive seasons in sports history. Trout has been Trout, but the story and end result has remained the same. If you're part of the 70% of viewers not subscribed yet, make sure to hit that button and join the wonderful subscribers of the channel, as the Angels have obvious talent and potential to be a playoff team, and show flashes of it every year before giving every Angels fan a nice kick in the balls, leading them into a long offseason before doing it all over again. Rinse and repeat. It's not even just Angels fans getting kicked in the balls here, it's baseball fans worldwide. Everyone loves Mike Trout. Everyone loves Shohei Ohtani, and there isn't much more that most of us would want than to see those two legendary players in the postseason, on baseball's brightest stage. But unfortunately, the Angels have really killed their team from within. They've been trying to fix things with glue and duct tape over the last couple of years, attempting to sneak into the playoffs, but the damage is as bad as ever now. There's really no fixing this dumpster fire. It's beyond fixing. It's officially done, and the only way to move on at this point is to start fresh. The Angels have gained a reputation for themselves in recent years for giving out big contracts that work out terribly for them. Albert Pujols was never anywhere near the Cardinals' version of himself in an Angels uniform. They gave Josh Hamilton $125 million to not hit as well, then deal with injuries and not play as much, before having a relapse with drug addiction, eventually being traded back to the Texas Rangers, where he was before signing the Angels contract. They traded for Justin Upton from the Tigers, who would eventually opt out of his contract, only to re-sign with the Angels, and although did pretty well putting up good numbers in his first full year as an Angel, he'd end up not consistently staying on the field and not playing that many games over the course of the next 3 years of his contract, before just full on getting released by the team before the 2022 season. And then you of course have the Anthony Rendon deal, which has worked out absolutely terrible for them. He's barely played in the first 4 years of the 7-year, $245 million contract he signed, and whenever he does play, he's terrible, gets hurt, and goes MIA again. So the story, beginning with the trade deadline last year in 2022, was if the Angels would trade Shohei Ohtani, the greatest, most impressive athlete in history, because they weren't winning, and it seemed obvious to trade him for a big prospect haul. But no, the Angels ownership decided it was best to just keep Ohtani, and so they did for the rest of the 2022 season. The 2023 trade deadline has since come and gone, and the same exact conversation was happening, except this time, even if the Angels decided to trade Ohtani, the return wouldn't be as valuable, obviously, because he would just be a rental. It would still cost some top prospects to get Ohtani, though, even if you're just getting him for a few months, but I don't think it would have been smart to do that. I don't think many teams were willing to do that, and instead we're likely thinking they'll just wait to see if they can sign him and give up no prospects in the process. But it didn't end up mattering what anyone thought, because Ohtani wasn't going nowhere. The Angels ownership and front office decided the best route to take moving forward was to keep Ohtani and then also trade their top prospects to get some help for their team to try and make a postseason run. Something a lot of people said when it came to the idea of the Angels trading Ohtani was that the ownership probably shouldn't and wouldn't want to go down in history as the team that traded away the modern-day Babe Ruth for prospects that may or may not turn out successful. But to that I say to hell with it. I think it's incredibly stupid to hold on to Ohtani and not get anything for him while you still can, and also while you know you probably don't have the overall roster to get to the postseason. But in my eyes, they blew it once they didn't trade him last year in 2022. That would have been the best time to trade him. He's coming off of an MVP season in 2021, was having another MVP level year in 2022, with it taking a historic offensive season from Aaron Judge to not win it back-to-back, and whoever hypothetically traded for him would have him for their pennant chase in 2022 and for all of 2023. But they decided to hold on to Ohtani and keep him on a team that would lose almost 90 games and finish in a distant third place in the division. They then doubled down a year later, not only just keeping Ohtani, but like I said, going another step further to trade some of their own top prospects for players that may or may not help them win now. Spoiler alert, these players did not help them win now, and everything has gone completely downhill since they made these trades. The biggest deal they made was with the Chicago White Sox, trading away their number 2 and 3 prospects for starting pitcher Lucas Giolito and reliever Ronaldo Lopez. Giolito went on to pitch 6 games for the Angels, throw 32 and 2/3 innings with an ERA near 7, while also giving up 10 home runs. Again, let me remind you, they gave up their number 2 and 3 prospects for this. They also traded away their number 8 and 28 prospects for a couple of hitters, Randall Grichuk and CJ Cron. Grichuk went on to hit 168 with a 567 OPS, while Cron hit 217 with a 563 OPS before going on the injured list. Just a month after these trades went down, trades that proved the Angels were all in on 2023, just 1 month later, the team called it quits on 2023, throwing a bunch of their players on waivers. Putting a player on waivers is basically the team giving any other team the opportunity to claim that player and their contract. Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez, the 2 pitchers that were dealt to Anaheim for the number 2 and 3 prospects, were 2 of those several players put on waivers by the Angels, with both of them being claimed by the Cleveland Guardians, a team that would also claim lefty reliever Matt Moore from the Angels, another player put on waivers. Hunter Renfroe, someone who was traded to the Angels before the 2023 season, was placed on waivers and claimed by the Reds. Dominic Leone, a reliever who the Angels gave up their number 9 prospect for, was also placed on waivers before getting claimed by the Mariners. Randall Grichuk was put on waivers but not picked up by anybody. So that's 5 players the Angels just got rid of, with 3 of those players being ones they gave up top prospects for, just to save about $5 million to help them shave some money off the payroll to get under the luxury tax threshold. The Angels' number 2 prospect, down the drain. The Angels' number 3 prospect, down the drain. The Angels' number 8 prospect, down the drain, with the same going for the Angels' number 9 and 28 prospects. All just completely thrown away for nothing because of a desperate attempt to get an Angels team to the postseason that was never good enough to get to the postseason. The farm system, one that was already incredibly weak to begin with, was blown up. How are you going to destroy something that was already destroyed? And to top it all off, Shohei Ohtani just recently discovered that he has a torn UCL, which is an elbow problem, something that very well could lead to another Tommy John surgery, so he's done pitching for the foreseeable future. And at the same time that news dropped, Mike Trout, who had been on the injured list for almost 2 months, came back, played a single game just to go back on the injured list. Oh, and where has Anthony Rendon been this entire time? Honestly, your bet is just as good as mine. He is just basically existing now. He is a human being on this earth. Where? No idea, and for the Angels, that's probably for the best. Oh, and while we're at it, absolutely ruining this franchise, let's throw Shohei Ohtani under the bus right before he hits free agency. That's a good idea. Perry Manassian, the Angels' general manager, recently addressed the Ohtani UCL tear, saying that he and the Angels offered to do an MRI on Shohei Ohtani's arm earlier this month, or last month in August, but Shohei and his agent refused because they didn't think it was necessary. Okay, now maybe this is the God's honest truth, but at the end of the day, what this is Manassian trying to get the heat and backlash off of the Angels, basically blaming Ohtani and his agent for the torn UCL. And the bottom line is, if the Angels really wanted to have Shohei get an MRI, they could have made it necessary out of precaution instead of giving him the option to decide himself. Talk about burning bridges. I mean, I guess at this point, you almost have to respect the consistency of the Angels' bad decisions. Like, it's pretty impressive at this point to run the organization into the ground as much as they have. Again, this is a team that has had Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on their roster for the last 7 seasons. And forget the playoffs. They don't even have one season where they finished above 500 to show for it. Yes, a winning baseball team takes much more than just 2 players, no matter how great those 2 players are. It's hard to build a winning baseball team, I get it, but at the end of the day, it's your job to do that, and the Angels, despite having 2 of the greatest players of all time, haven't even had one season with a record over 500. Your job is to build a winner. You haven't done that, and you failed at that job. It's as simple as that. They failed. They failed to ever get Trout and Ohtani to the promised land together. It's over. It's done. It's a complete failure. I have never been more confident than I am now that Shohei Ohtani will be on another team for the rest of his career after the end of this season. You could never say never, who knows what's going to happen, anything's possible, but it just seems so unlikely for Ohtani to sign back with this team. In fact, it seems more likely that they will not only lose Ohtani in free agency, but that they will trade Trout too. I mean, anything is on the table at this point. The Angels aren't just dead, they've been dead. They're a buried corpse, and the only way to move forward at this point is to start fresh. The Angels have been so disappointing for more than half a decade now, but it seems that with 2023 being what it has been, with everything that has transpired here, and with how it all ended, if what this season has teased for the future is true, even darker days lie ahead for Angels baseball.